Hi guys, I just wanted to send you guys a video of the answers to the homework so you are able to check your work and make sure that you understand slope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the answers and then I will go through each problem and how to get the answer. That way, as I'm reading through the answers, you can kind of circle ones that you should fast forward to so you don't have to watch the whole entire video. You can just fast forward to the ones that you need to watch how to solve them. Okay. All right. So number one, this one you were telling whether the rate of change were constant or variable. So number one, this had a constant rate of change. Number two was a variable rate of change. All right. 3 through 6, you had to find the slope. Number three is -3. 4 is 1. 5 is 1/2. 6 is -2/5. Okay. Number 7 through 10, you also had to find the slope, but you were given 2 points. So number 7 is -1. 8 is 0. 9 is undefined or no slope. 10 is -1. Number 11, who hiked at a faster rate, Brianna or Marcy? So Marcy is going to hike at a faster rate. It was a 1.2 miles per hour. Number 12, 3 ounces of orange juice would be produced per orange. 13, what the student did was they accidentally did the change of x over the change of y. So it should be flipped, and the correct slope would be 1/3. All right, number 14, 218 gallons per hour. 14, or sorry, that was 14. Number 15 is 50 miles per hour. Number 16, part A, it is going to be, let's see, 1 ounce for every 46 peanuts. So 1/46 would be that slope. Part B, it will take 1,840 peanuts. Okay. All right, so let's see here. Going back and looking at number 1. So this is constant. Remember, when you're finding the rate of change, this would be like your x. Let's change my color here. This would be your y. So rate of change is the change of y over the change of x. So if I look from 1 serving to 2 servings, the change of y is 150. The change of x is 1. So between 1 serving and 2 servings, this has a rate of 150 calories per serving. Okay? Now, if I do the same thing between 2 servings and 5 servings, the change of y, which is your calories, it will increase 450 calories. But this time, the servings are increasing by 3 servings. So if you look at that ratio, 450/3, it still reduces down to 150 calories per serving. Okay. And then the same thing if we look at 5 servings to 7 servings. Okay. The calories is going to increase by 300. The servings increases by 2 servings. But when you look at that ratio, 300/2, it still reduces down to 150 calories per serving. So wherever we look at our chart, that rate of change is 150 calories per serving. So that is constant. That change is constant. Okay. If we look at number 2, So we could say jumps is the x, y is the distance, how far you would go. So between 2 jumps and 4 jumps, there's an increase of 12 feet. And that's over 2 jumps. Okay, so this would reduce down to 6 feet per jump. All right, when I look at the change between 4 jumps and 7 jumps, there is an increase of 11 feet over 3 jumps. 11 feet over 3 jumps. Well, when you reduce that or divide that out, that works out to about 3.6 feet per jump. Well, that's not the same as the change between 2 and 4 jumps. That's different. So right there, because those two changes are different, this is going to be variable. The rate varies. Okay? All right, looking at number 3. So we're going to find the slope of each line. So remember, you want to pick 2 nice points. So where the line goes right through where our grid crosses. So I'm going to use that point and I'm going to use that point. Slope is the change of y over the change of x. So to get from this point to this point, I'm going to see how much or what happens to that y value. So I start here at 3 and then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 units. So the change of y is -3. Now let's look at the x. All right, if I started here, I'm going to go to the right 1 to get to my new point. So the change of x is 1. So this slope I can say is -3. Okay. All right, number 4, same thing. I'm going to pick 2 nice points. So we'll say this one and this one. Change of y over the change of x. To get from here to here, I go up 1 space. So that change of y is 1. I go to the right 1 space. So that change of x is 1. Well, 1 over 1 equals a slope of 1. All right, looking at number 5. Let's use that point. I'm going to keep reading, and then that's a nice point. So my change of y, I go up 1, and I'm going to go to the right 1, 2 spaces. All right, so +1 over +2. 1/2 would be your slope. Number 6. So let's see, that's a nice point. Now I'm going to keep reading. Not a nice point. That's not a nice point either. It's a little bit above where the grid intersects. So I'm going to keep going. Same thing with that. It's a little bit below where my grid lines intersect. So I'm going to keep going. Right there. That's a nice point. It goes right through where the 2 grid lines intersect. All right, so now looking at my change of y, if I go from this point here down here, I'm going to go down 1, 2 units. So -2 is that change of y. Now I'm going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So -2 over 5 would be our slope. Okay. All right, number 7. Remember your slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to label x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, I'm going to plug in 9 minus 3 over -10 minus -4. Okay, 9 minus 3, I get +6. And -10 minus 4, if I do my keep, change, -10 plus +4, I end up with -6. -6 over -6 will give me a slope of -1. Okay, number 8, x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to think 3 minus 3 over 4 minus -7. 3 minus 3 equals 0. And if I do keep, change, I get 0 over 11. Well, 0 divided by anything is always 0, so the slope is 0. Okay, x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to think 8 minus 4 over negative 12 minus negative 12. 8 minus 4, I get positive 4. Negative 12, keep, change, change. Negative 12 plus positive 12 gives me 0. Well, if you try to put 4 divided by 0 in the calculator, it says error. That's because you cannot divide by 0. So this is what we call undefined or no slope. Okay. And number 10, x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to think negative 4 minus 2 over 1 minus negative 5. Keep, change, change. Negative 4 plus negative 2 is negative 6. Keep, change, change. 1 plus 5 is positive 6. So I'm going to get my answer of negative 1. All right, Brianna and Marcy, who hiked faster? All right, so let's look at our rates here. X and Y, X and Y. I'm going to think change of Y over the change of X. So Brianna, her change of Y, as I go up the table, is 1 mile per, and it's increasing by 2 hours each time. So if I divide that out, she hikes at a rate of 0.5 miles per hour. Now I'm going to do the same thing for Marcy. So she is going at a rate where it's increasing by 6 miles for every 5 hours. So if I divide that, her rate is 1.2 miles per hour. So she is going farther per hour. So Marcy is hiking at a faster rate. All right, juice. So the number of oranges we use will determine how much juice is made. So what is that rate? Change of Y over change of X. All right, so if I look from 12 to 8, that increases by 6. From 18 to 27, that increases by 9. If I look at my oranges, between 4 and 6 oranges, that increases by 2 oranges. So if I look at the rate, if I use the rate between 4 and 6 oranges, the ounces, the change in the ounces of juice is 6 to a change of 2 oranges. This would reduce to 3 ounces per orange. Okay, if I look at the rate of change between 6 and 9 oranges, there's an increase of 9 ounces for every 3 oranges. Again, when I reduce that, I still get 3 ounces per orange. Because there's that constant rate of change, it really doesn't matter what 2 points we're using from our table to calculate that rate of change. You're going to get the same answer no matter what. Okay? All right, the next one, it says, a student said that the slope of the line through 8422 is 3. What error did this student make? So I'm just going to figure out, well, what is the actual answer? So I'm going to label, and then I'm going to think y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to do 2 minus 4 over 2 minus 8. All right, so keep, change, change. I get negative 2 over negative 6. Well, my negatives will divide out, so that becomes positive, and then 2 over 6 reduces to 1/3. So now this is the correct slope, but this person got 3. Well, what does that mean? That means that they probably had this flipped. They did their x's on top, the y's on the bottom, and that's how they got 3 over 1, which is not correct. Okay, number 14. In 3 hours, 654 gallons of water passed through a pipe. What was the average rate in gallons per hour at which the water passed through the pipe? Okay, so we're comparing gallons per hour. So it says 654 gallons flow through the pipe every 3 hours. If I divide that, that will give me that rate of 218 gallons per hour. Okay. A car traveled 200 miles in 4 hours, what was the car's average rate of speed, miles per hour? So I'm going to think 200 miles for every 4 hours. If I want it per hour, I can just divide it. So that average rate is 50 miles per hour. Okay, number 16. The table shows how many peanuts one company uses to make peanut butter. So it says, suppose you graph the information in the table. Find the slope of the line drawn through the points. So I'm going to think change of y over change of x. So what is happening is this is increasing by 4. That change would be 4. What's happening to the x? This is increasing by 184. So that rate I could reduce. I can divide the top and bottom by 4, and this is going to reduce to 1 over 46. If you calculated that rate of change between 552 peanuts and 828 peanuts, here you're going to have your y is increasing by 6, okay, where your x, or the peanuts, is increasing by 276. But you still have the same slope, because for every 6 ounces, increase in 6 ounces, you're increasing the nuts by 276. So if we were to reduce that, divide the top and the bottom by 6, you still get 1 over 46. So that's your slope. Okay. All right. How many peanuts would be needed to fill a 40-ounce jar with peanut butter? Okay, there's 2 ways you could do this. You could write an equation. Okay, we know our slope is 1 over 46. I could say y, my ounces, equals 1 over 46 times the number of peanuts used. Okay, and it's saying how many peanuts would be needed to fill a 40-ounce jar. Y is your ounces. I could put 40 in for y and now solve this equation. If I want to get x by itself, I would multiply both sides by the reciprocal, and I would find out that I would need 1,840 peanuts. Or you could set up a proportion, okay? You could think peanuts, 2 ounces, okay? I know right here with this ratio, for every 1 ounce, it takes 46 peanuts. So 46 peanuts to 1 ounce. Well, this is asking, well, what if I want 40 ounces? How many peanuts would I need? And now you could multiply and get 1,840 peanuts. Okay? All right, I hope that helps with any questions that you may have.